Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Late Friday Night Banter Blitz. It was a hard week, honestly, mainly because of the problem that was raised by the Mac key. Yeah. So, this crazy topic on forums and so on. So, I usually do not appreciate the way the McKean behaved, and in many cases I just did not react. In this case, I probably reacted too hard. Yeah, so I answered and probably also offended the guy. In fact, he raised a very important problem of choosing the opponents correctly. Yeah, I was a bit insulted by this blaming me in nothing actually, because I usually try to be fair, right? But maybe not every show, right? Maybe sometimes I'm too focused on playing. Maybe sometimes I'm too focused on speaking to constant followers or something like that, so that I miss the point of actually playing the guys who just joined the show and so on. I've decided to do the following. So every show from now on will start with several games played to the guys who never played or played only a few times, right? And then we will get to actually other models like playing to high-rated players, constant followers, and so on. So I typically go into spend on this newcomers, let's call them this way, like 30 or 45 minutes every time, every Friday, I mean. And if there is a challenge from the Mac King, I will play the first game to this guy. Okay, so tell me please what is with the stream, right? If it is good or not. Okay, let's continue with playing. A lot of challenges already, 23 to be precise, 24 right now. So let's have a look if there is a challenge from the Mac King. Yes, there is a challenge from the Mac King, but well, it says he's offline, but I will accept anyway, and we'll see. Stream is good. Everything is okay, Andre. That's great. So I start with white pieces. Let's do it. E4, C5, Sicilian. Let's see what it will be. The dragon or Sveshnikov. I expected Sveshnikov. Okay. Bishop G5. Knight A3. Knight at D5. So it is a well-known theory. There's nothing to speak about at the moment, so I usually play exactly this. So I play c4, then knight at f3, and so on. So there are a lot of opportunities for white, but I'll try queen f3 in this guy. Simply exerting pressure on the bishop f6, maybe intending to take on f6 or something, to damage the pawn structure. So black's pawn structure is already not that great, but after knight f6 it will be even worse. G4, being very active. Now I want to play G5 and trap the bishop. So I want to spend the time on newcomers. Every Friday, every show. I can't, of course, playing only newcomers because, constant followers also deserve the attention and so on, and high-rated guys as well, because it makes the fight much more entertaining, right? So there are different things possible, of course, different systems. I will try to experiment with this, so like 30 or 45 minutes, then we come back to regular banter and so on. All right, because I usually do 2 hours, right? That's okay to spend this 45 minutes or 30 minutes on newcomers, I guess. So if I take on f4 immediately, there will be queen f6 move. Also possible way to play with whites, but I think that it's better to protect the queen in advance. Now I can take on f4, of course. So, and take on here. So black definitely has some compensation, I believe, for the missing points, but I don't think this compensation is complete. Still, I have to be very careful. Okay. Most vulnerable points are d3, for example. So bishop g4 is now a threat. If bishop takes knight d3 fork. So knight to e3, let's say. Protecting everything and controlling everything. So to castle on or not? Or just rook to d1? I know which is better, of course. Both are possible. Let's check this simple castling. Let's see. c4, is it heading? I don't think so. Let's go away with the king. So I can keep position on the queen side closed. If black plays b3, I play a3. If a3, then b3. I have an extra pawn at the moment. I have some perspectives on the king side, of course, if I start pushing pawns there. But I think there is also an interesting plan of just attacking d6, right? Robert Kander is somewhat nervous, right? He says, castling on, you die. Oh. Not really, I think. Okay, c4 is hanging. Rook d4 can be played. Protecting it. b3. Okay, let's close it. I don't want to give my opponent a chance to attack me along the A file. Oh yeah, I missed the pawn. That was bad. All right, that was a necessary blunder from my side. Of course, g5 was much better to start with. Okay, happens. Happens. I mean, the shit happens. Let's do this. And d6 drops anyway. So I'm still a pawn up. I could have been 2 pawns up, honestly. But I've blundered on h4. This happens, okay? I did a stream on Lead Chats today on my own, and I experienced same problems. I mean, I've just blundered a lot. That's bad. That's really bad. Okay, what to do now? There are a lot of interesting options, including, let's say, rook to d5. If rook takes, I will take with the pawn. And my passed pawn on d5 might become real power very, very soon. Just d6, d7. By the way, a4 pawn is also heading. So now d6 or queen takes a4. I think queen takes a4 looks just very good. Let's take this pawn. Now b3 drops. Sooner or later. Knight d7, let's say bishop to b5, but then knight b6, right? Knight b6, but queen takes b3, yes. Should be just winning somehow, but queen e1 is a move somewhere. Ah, okay. It's just a one move, right? Queen e1, queen takes b3, so what? Now I'll just take. Oh, come on. It's absolutely winning. It's absolutely winning. My goodness. So let's win it, right? So the rook is very passive. No chances to activate it. No chances to take my pawn. Well, no chances at all. So now the king is passive as well. It's time to resign, I think. But okay. I'll just protect everything to show that, well, I'm not in the mood to blunder something additionally. And we'll start pushing my pawns towards the promotion squares. Yep, absolutely lost. So it's not a good variation for black at all. I mean, with this bishop b4, with this bishop f4, I'm sorry. So after that, I just take the bishop and I'm a pawn up with no compensation. So some players I saw after queen f3 just ignore this bishop on f6. I mean, allow white to take on f6. It's a double-edged position, let's say, after bishop e6. It's not clear, so of course I take, but queen takes, and this endgame is very hard for white to win, and black has a long-term advantage in the sense of the bishop, so the bishop is better than mine. So I experienced some problems with playing that with white. Of course, the pawn structure is much better for white, but the pieces are probably a bit better for black. So one of possible ways to avoid these complications. Another idea is to play rook to b8. So instead of a5, a bit more subtle move. So rook b8, protecting the pawn this way. The point is that if I play queen f3 now, then bishop goes to g5. And if h4, then bishop can take on h4. The point is that I can't take on h4 now, followed by knight c7 because there is no fork. After a5, it is one of the points of playing h4. So bishop g5, h4, and if bishop takes h4, then there is rook h4 possible. So after queen h4, knight c7, and takes on a8. But it is also a complicated line after, as far as I remember, I don't actually remember. Yeah, king e7 is probably a move here. Then knight takes a8. At the moment, white is up a minor piece, right? And then after bishop g4, white has a trick like knight e3, because if queen goes away, then knight drops on a8. But knight e3 is a trick intended to play this knight f5 if bishop takes. But bishop still can take. And after knight f5 check, then king goes to, I don't remember, let's say f6. Knight takes here, bishop takes e4. Yeah, something like that, I think. I don't remember. But something like that, yeah, very interesting. Oh, yeah, something is wrong, actually. After knight f5, there should be something else. Knight f5. Maybe the king should go somewhere else. Yeah, maybe. So something like that, very interesting line, very complicated one. And yeah, it deserves attention, deserves proper analysis. Okay, anyway. Anyway, let us continue with newcomers. Let's see if we have the ones. So Duke Crusher, no, not now. Phenomen, Chomic Student, Colin Cone. Don't remember 5 games. Wow, already played 5 games. Bimbita from Spain, no games at all, except let's play. And again, I'm playing white. Bimbita, are you here, by the way? Says it's a fly. Offline, abort. Okay, next. So it was Bimbita, chameleon from New Zealand. Looks like a girl, right? And well, never played. Intriguing, except. The question, Andre, do you prefer Star Wars or The Lord of the Rings? Both, my friend. I do like both. Knight of 3, knight c6. Bishop b5, a6. And exchanged variation, which I also play with white. Very interesting. Takes d4. Looks a bit dangerous for black at first glance. In fact, it is just a kite. So when bishop jumps to g5, I put my queen on d6. My opponent started thinking. That's a good sign. Oh, e5 is not the move, for sure. It weakens light squares, and white has no light squared bishop. So it should be punished somehow. For instance, queen g6 looks like a move. Yeah, let's play queen to g6. Simply. Now my queen attacks c2. I can take on c2 if I want. But then rook d1 might be slightly annoying. So instead, what to do? Bishop d7, followed by castling, looks great. Bishop h3, unfortunately, doesn't work quite well in the view of knight h4, I think. Yeah, so bishop d7 followed by castling looks good. Knight e7 followed by knight f5 also looks good, but I think I'm not in a rush. So let's just develop the pieces normally. Bishop g5. Bishop to e7 or just h6. h6, then rook to d1. Maybe knight e7 even. Yeah, knight to e7 looks really tricky and interesting. I don't know. But maybe bishop e7 is just fine. Both are looking interesting. Both are looking tempting. e6 is also something I should avoid here. So let's play knight to e7. Oh, true. It was the first time I actually, yeah, got the hint from the chat. So if I castle on, I get mated after queen a7 or something. Oh yeah, true. My God. Thanks a lot, my friends. It just saved me from being, I'm sorry, wrecked with the queen a7. It's quite typical, by the way. Yeah, after queen c3, it's possible now to castle. My goodness. That is what I do today. I actually blunder a lot. And blunder really hard stuff. It's very bad. Okay, let's finally castle. Actually, what I wanted to do is to apply on light squares, right? But what I do is actually something different. In fact, my bishop should have been already somewhere on f5 or even on h3. Instead, I'm doing something strange. But still, I like my position because, yeah, it looks very, very harmonious. Let's do, for instance, bishop to e6. Well, how to play then, instead of this, what I did. I mean, it will be an interesting thing to figure it out. Okay, knight e4, let's put the bishop on d5. Normal central position of the bishop, controlling light squares and maybe already creating some threats. I don't really know. So bishop takes e4, rook takes e4, then knight jumps somewhere to h4, let's say. Winning the exchange, I think. It should be like that. So takes e4, knight h4, rook is hanging, g2 checkmate is hanging as well. Let's try it. Should be up in material. If I didn't blunder again, but I think not this time. Yeah. Black should be winning, I think. Knight takes h4, queen takes e4, bishop is hanging. And my queen is just a monster in the center. No compensation. For sure. No compensation at all. So, everything is misplaced. How to finish the stuff. I don't want to make the things complicated, so let's just simplify a bit. So if we exchange queens, well, I'm just up on exchange. I have rook d2 idea, and so on. So it can't be bad for black for sure. If white doesn't want to exchange queens, then where to go with the queen? If it goes to f3, well, b2 is hanging. I can grab it, I guess. I can also put my queen on c4 in that case. Simply controlling light squares once again. After e5, as you can see, light squares became very vulnerable. Bishop takes. c3, attacking the bishop. Okay, if I put it on e7, which is a natural position, the knight goes to f5. So I'll put it back. Okay. And now I'll put it on c5. Just avoiding some unnecessary stuff. Rook to d3, not necessary. Rook to d7 instead. Solid play to avoid blunders. Undermining move. taking on e5. Check or d2. Let's check it. Isn't it time to resign? I think it would be just a perfect timing. But okay, we can also play a bit. Yeah, great. Not bad for the first game against Chameleon, but well, e5 is definitely not a move. In fact, I'm mixed up something, I think, because well, after that position should be really easy to play. Probably you were right, guys, who suggested playing bishop e7 here. Definitely, after bishop e7, there is no this problem with d8 square. There is no problem with the bishop g5 move. And I can develop my pieces in a normal way here. So usually this knight g8 should be on f5. So I can get there by playing something like h5. Let's imagine white plays something normal. I can play h5, then knight to h6, and then knight to f5 at some point. Yeah, so black definitely has to avoid playing castling long until the queen is on d4. So this thing I just completely forgot. So white could have played here rook to d1, attacking the bishop. It looks like I have nothing better than playing something strange like queen g4 or queen f5, because if I castle, then this guy goes here, and that's it. Yeah, that's simply it. So yeah, rook d1 deserved attention here, because bishop g5 was somewhat, I could have met normally. Again, here rook d1 was good, because I still can't castle in the view of this queen a7. So after rook d1, I probably have to do something strange again, so something like queen f5 or queen e6, which looks not cool at all, but still playable, of course. So the long-term drawback of white's position is the weakness of light squares. So e5 is not a move. Normal line for white after after ed4 is to start with bishop g5, after queen d6 to take with the queen. That is a normal exchange variation. The only difference is that the pawn is on f7. It is really a nuance, so it is considered a serious well, factor in a sense of immediate equality for black. So the pawn is not here but on f7, so e6 is not weak. In many cases it makes a difference, but well, it's too subtle, so it's just a normal play for white, normal game, normal exchange variation. Anyway, chameleons, thanks a lot for the game. Thanks a lot for opposition. Let's continue. So who is the next today? So 30 minutes, and we still have 15 minutes. So Dr Balo, Germany, no games at all. Let's play. I accept. e4. Wow. There is a harsh discussion in chat about Star Wars. My goodness. That's really nice. Okay, guys. It's easier for me. You can talk about Star Wars. I'll just play chess. e4, Dr. Balo, come on. Offline. Abort. Okay. The next. Kuzma. Didn't play. So accept. And I play with black. That's a pity. I was playing white the previous game, but I didn't really play it, right? So. Knight f3, knight c6, so again. Exchange the variation. No. Okay. Knight f6. Oh, my son is crying. castles, bishop to e7, rook e1, b5, d6, classic line, h3 and h6. d4, rook e8. So the Smyslov variant or Smyslov system, just called knight to d2, bishop to f8. So h6 was designed to protect in g5, super into knight g5. Rook e8 was a preparation of bishop f8, because the bishop on f8 occupies a position which is at least not worse than the bishop on e7. But the rook now protects e5, and at some point black will be ready to capture in d4 and to grab e4 pawn. That's like the basic idea of this system, to support e5 pawn and to be ready for the opening of the game in general, just to attack along the e file. Bishop c2, I usually put the bishop on d7 in this case. Knight goes to f1, and here I think a5 is promising. So usually black has to maneuver the knight c6 somewhere, because on c6 it occupies not really cool position. It's a bit passive. Moreover, one of black's plans is to undermine the center with the help of c7, c5. So the knight definitely should go away somewhere. And I want to put it on a5. That's why I played a5, a4, just to ensure that position of the knight on a5 will be more or less suitable. So it won't be possible to attack it easily. Also, this a5, a4 helps me to grab the space. Bishop goes to d3. Okay, I still can play knight a5. Protecting b5 pawn with the bishop from d7. Andre, do you ever play the Breyer line? Yes, I did. But perhaps, I don't remember actually, but probably not in tournament games. So I was about to play this, but then I changed my mind and started playing this Smyslov. Okay, b3, what is going on? If I take on b3, takes on b3, knight takes b3, rook a8. So it's wrong for me. Okay, I can take on b3 and then to play c5. This should be okay, I think. Now let's try it, at least. Robert Kander, it's not boring. It's actually the core of chess, if you want it. So if you can't actually play positions like this one, well, actually it will be hard for you to play chess in general. It's like endgames, right? Many people say that endgames are boring, but without endgames knowledge and without endgame skills, you're not a chess player, because everything is boiled down to endgames, right? So bishop c2. Okay, now I think queen c7 will be just a normal move to improve position of the queen, to connect the rooks, maybe to prepare something like a rook to d8. But after queen e2, I think I can play c4. So b4, knight b3 takes on a8. I take with the rook. If bishop takes, pawn takes, I have very annoying pawn there on b3. So let's try it. That is an interesting idea, to break through on the queen side. At very least, I will grab that bishop on c1 and we'll have pair of bishops, but I think I will achieve more. And that is how boring stuff becomes not boring at all. Because, well, black is about just to penetrate. So what white is going to do? To take on b3 and... Oh, bishop to b1. Didn't expect that. Okay, let's see. So if rook goes to a1, then bishop b2 probably. Okay, I think it will be just alright for me to grab this bishop. It is potentially annoying, right? My knight on b3 is not that great because it is very close to the edge of the board. And now I have to prove that, well, this bishop was very important. For this purpose, I will try to activate my dark square guy. Yeah, this way. At the same time, limiting the activity of opponent's pieces. I do like combining the things. Okay, the knight is going to where? To e3. Well, let's attack e4. Oh, this weakens the stuff a lot. Is it really possible to play this way? It should be punished, I think, somehow. So let's start with this. I'll just go there. Oh, that's a big blunder because the rook on c1 drops. Yeah, that is game over. So it was over actually when white played f3. After this weekend of dark squares, it's not possible to save it, I think. So black has pair of great bishops. Well, bishop c6 is not that great at the moment, but well, at any moment it can become. And look at this. So white has just pinned all over the board, and despite material is completely even, black simply dominates the position. Of course, it wasn't necessary to blunder the rook on c1, but still it's very hard to find a good move. Because what I want to do here is just to, well, maybe even to take on e3 at some point, and there will be knight g3. Maybe I want to play knight g3 first, and there will be just a mess along dark squares. Maybe I want to play rook a3 and attack c3. Maybe I want to play rook d8 with the same stuff. Maybe I want to play rook a1. A lot of different ways of winning this position. So maybe rook a1 followed by something like queen a7 will be just what black wants to achieve. So yeah, just a normal example of winning in Ruy Lopez. A boring opening. Okay, let's continue. Maybe I didn't understand your point completely, but I mean, Robert Gander, but yeah, that is probably because I don't read all the comments, so maybe I was out of context. Don't know. Okay, anyway, let's continue. Challenges, the last newcomer, I think, today. And then we come back to just normal, regular order. So, well, the guy from France, I can't actually pronounce it. Sorry for it, but yeah, it's very hard for me. Yeah, d4, knight f6, c4, e6. Knight f3, b6, Queen's Indian defense. Hyper modern opening. Which moves are good here for white? G3, knight c3, a3, a lot of different ones. So g3, recently I started doing this strange thing, just transpose into Catalan. And I'm going to play d5, yes. Exactly at the moment when knight went to c3 preparing e4, I just play d5 and stop it. cd5, It's like, yeah. Like in a cool position already, so black managed to equalize chances. And knight goes to e5, but it's still very tricky. I know it's tricky, for sure, because I was like trapped many times in Blitz. Okay, if I play knight after d7, which is a normal move here, a normal idea to exchange this knight e5. Knight takes d5, e takes d5, bishop takes d5, knight takes e5 in that case, pawn takes e5, and I still can protect my rook. That's bad. Okay, if I play knight d7, knight d5, well, knight d5 will be there. That's a problem for me. So let's put the bishop on b7 first. Now I'm ready to play knight to d7 to exchange this knight. Bishop d2. That is too passive, I think. But okay, if white wants to play this, let it be. And I take with the queen because I do believe that the natural position for my knight is on c6. And I will put it on c6 right now. So then probably to a5 and to c4, but we will see. Yeah, e3 makes the bishop d2 quite passive. That is a portion of good news for me. That is definitely good for me. Okay, let's try this knight a5, knight c4 now. Also, at some point I will play bishop a6, just activating the bishop. But at the moment I am more tempted by something like rook to c8, probably, increasing pressure on the queen side. Also, some plans for black here include b5, b4. But this b5 may backfire. I mean, after b5, the bishop b7 is sort of self-imprisoned. So, not very good in many cases. Oh, very nice. Look, bishop to a3. My favorite move in such a situation. Oh, if I play bishop a6, then knight e2. PT enough. Okay, let's start with this. The problem with this position, I mean, if you want to play this for a win, that it is absolutely symmetrical. It's usually very hard to break through. But if you play correctly and your opponent doesn't, then you have some chances, for sure, every time. Let's go away. If bishop takes a5, I will have a pair of bishops, which will be nice. Yeah. Now my position is a bit better, I think. Due to a pair of bishops, let's activate one of them. Let's activate another one. Look how my bishops control the board. Really nice. Now I have to double the rooks along the c-file. Somehow not blunder in anything. Also, I have to understand that there is a threat of a3, just getting rid of my bishop. So maybe queen e7 should be played first. Knight e5, e5, rook c8, everything is under control then. Yeah, let's try this. Or queen d6. I don't know. Let's do this. Oh, come on. Bishop d3 was a move. My goodness. Oh, I miss just so easy moves. Well, at least, yeah, bishop d3 is now even not a threat, I think, because if knight takes d5. My god. Oh, yeah. What's going on? E1 is heading. This just drops the rook. Yeah, it's lost. It's lost for white. Stop. I wanted to take on b4, but I've noticed a much better way of continuing the game. Rook to c1 check. What a great position for black. And now it's really lost. Yeah. So, come on, bishop d2. Bishop d2 is too passive. So instead of playing bishop d2, it's much better to put it on g5, let's say. And then in many cases, you will have a threat of taking on f6 and then playing e4. And yeah, you will have an isolated pawn, but you will have very, very active minor pieces. That is the one of the ways of playing this. Queen to a4 is your next move. Yeah, something like that. So probably black has to do something like knight c6, or maybe knight after d7 here, but that's another story. So the bishop is not that passive. As for the next, I've missed bishop d3 after queen c1. So queen c1 allowed me to play bishop d3. So now, yeah, the rook is under attack. If rook goes away, just take on c3. You can't really take anywhere like d5 or something. I have rook c2, so it's lost already. After queen e7, it wasn't that easy. But of course, knight a4 was a great mistake. Instead, e4 deserved attention, because now if I play bishop d3, look, my rook on c8 is no longer protected, so knight e5 becomes an interesting resource. Which is still not so easy to estimate. Let's say I can play queen b7, takes, a lot of things are hanging, but knight b4 should be just a move that's, yeah, that looks good for white. So take on b4, takes on c8, queen goes away. If I take on c2, then knight takes c2, and then you protect the knight. Everything is more or less fine. So e4 deserved attention. Okay, anyway, let's continue. Now it's time to come back to the normal order of challenges. So I hope you liked the idea, right? So this part of today's session I've spent on accepting challenges from the guys that never ever played. Yeah. So now I'm going to accept challenges one by one. So many players think that the top challenges are the first ones. No, on the top we have the latest challenges. So on the bottom we have actually challenges from the guys who challenged me first today. So Duke Crusher, accept. Knight f3, knight f6, b3. Something new, Duke Crusher, come on. What are you going to do? You're going to surprise me with this? It's not very surprising. So it will be just like, yeah, it will be just like Queen's Indian defense reversed. That's really cool. d4, no, it won't be like Queen's Indian defense reversed anymore. Interesting. Okay, let's try knight c6. If white takes on c5, I think I will have a chance to regain this pawn quickly. That's why I probably don't have to be worried about that. Bishop e2. g6 I think will be too much. Yeah. So instead, how to play? What would be a solid move? Let's take on d4. Knight takes d4. Another solid move. Bishop to d6 or to e7? I don't know where it is better. Let's put it on d6. I guess it's okay. Attacking h2 maybe. Wow, it was highlighted with red. Very nice. c4. Programmatic move, of course. Do I want to take on c4? Or just to castle and give white a chance to take on d5, to play with the isolated pawn? Let's try it. That's interesting at least, because isolated pawn is a weakness, for sure, but it leads to some sort of active pieces play, so let's do it. Let's try it. I've never played this with black pieces, honestly. So I've played with the isolated pawn only having white pieces. So from black's perspective, it looks a bit strange. But okay, still playable, I guess. e5 is also an interesting try now. e5. Yeah, let's try e5. Knight takes c6, b6. I have pawn center. And now let's say knight takes d4. e4 is forced. Otherwise, I just win the material. And e4. That's what I wanted to try. So I've sacrificed a pawn. But we can see that white has double pawns in the d file, right? The bishop b2 became stupid a bit. And yeah, I have sort of 4 against 3 on the king side. This might be very good. Queen c2, sort of provoking me to play bishop to f5, which is quite good, I think. So I wanted to put my bishop here. Chomic Student says, no one knows what Chess24 is planning. I'll tell you what Chess24 is planning. So actually in a week, it will be a great Friday because it will be 24th of February. So the third anniversary of Chess24. And that will be a great day, full of great shows from all your favorite hosts. Maybe even I will take part in this because I'm not quite sure, because I'm going to go to Files Open, and well, if there will be a possibility to make a stream, of course I will take part in this great event, a series of events to be precise. Probably it won't be even one Friday. Probably it will be also the Saturday and Sunday, so the whole weekend. But Friday will be definitely like 24 hours online for you guys. That's what Chess24 is planning, short term. Okay. Queen on d2. So now what? b5. No, I want to save my bishop actually. But I can also take on d5 with the knight. It will be also good, I guess. If I go away with the bishop, then there will be a lot of things like queen g5, like bishop a3, d6. Too many annoying things. To sacrifice on c4, well, it looks too much. So takes on d5 should be just a normal way of continuing playing in these positions. Now, I think white is simply forced to take on d6. I take with the queen on d6, and I think I have a good knight on d5, a good blockading knight, and the bishop on b2 is somewhat bad. Of course, it's still possible to activate it, but I guess, well, it will take a long time, and after this knight e6, queen d6, I already have some concrete threats, right? Robert Kander, are you trolling me all the time, or what is going on? Black is lost here. Come on. So 93, bishop b4 looks tempting. Bishop f4 is also an interesting move. Well, let's try bishop b4. And now, let's say bishop to e6. Great. 95, bishop d5. Just a much better pawn structure. Yeah, f5, f4 or something. Yeah. Rook c1. Well, queen d7 is a move. Let's do it. Gradually preparing for active operations. Well, of course, queen g5 was much better. Queen g5, much more active move. Come on. Rook c4, b5 maybe. Knight e5, bc4. Oh, not that easy. Knight takes e3, come on. What is going on today? What the hell is that? Knight takes e3, attacking the queen. Then I take on c4. Oh, I understand now. I have 30 seconds only. Yes. My goodness. I forgot about the time completely. I have a winning position, so not a big deal. Intermediate move. There is no immediate checkmate. PT, PT, PT. PT, PT, PT. Then we'll simplify the position. Okay. Oh, one of a sudden checkmate. I didn't expect that. Sorry. That was a strange game. Come on. I was about to lose in time, so I was too late to understand that, well, I have only, 30 seconds, right, to finish the game. But, well, actually, my position was very good from the very start. I do believe that for white, it was much better to take the pawn on d5 when I gave a chance to do that. So after castling, just take on d5. That was good, because definitely taking with the knight is not a move here. So knight takes c6, look at this awful pawns on c6, a6, come on. E4, you can play e4, you can not even do this, you can do a lot of other things, so this is not a good idea for black to do this. So I wanted to take with the pawn. And well, it is an isolated pawn, right? So it is already sort of a concession. By the way, you have immediate bishop a3 idea. I'm just exchanging my most dangerous piece. So with this bishop, there might be an attack, of course, on the king side. Without this bishop, probably I have nothing but the isolated pawn. So all this was just a bluff, Duke Crusher. So this idea was perfect for white, I think. Yeah, maybe I actually simplify the things. Maybe it is not that simple, but well, it looks like that. So I do believe creating an isolated pawn in my camp was an idea, was a move for sure. After that, when I played this, well, actually, I was already quite happy with the position, but queen c2 wasn't forced. So instead of queen c2, that was an awful move. Knight c4 was better. Just trying to become active as soon as possible. So to put the knight on e5, to take on d6 maybe. Another idea was to try to save the material advantage by, well, it's not possible if you play bishop c4. At very least I have b5, just attacking the bishop and then taking on d5. Maybe I even have a chance to take on h2 followed by knight g4 in this typical attack there. So yeah, bishop should stay on e2. So instead I would prefer something like knight c4, I guess, but not queen c2 just helps me with the development. And another thing in that, of course, taking on c6 was just a normal way to play. So we have this famous position from queens in the defense, but it is now reversed. So white has some extra tempi. Maybe it is not that bad for white. Yeah, so black has pawn center, but these pawns are not moving right now, so everything is fine. Yeah, I have a pen here. So let's continue. Robert Kender says something wrong, I think. So I guess if you won't stop doing it, I will ask Tree County just to put you on pause. So please try to be a normal person, right? I know that probably you have a bad day, but I don't think that somebody present here is the reason for your troubles, okay? Okay, let's continue. Johann Wilhelm Möbius, accept. So as you can see, just one by one. I mean, I take challenges one by one in the order they were actually left here. That's the point. A6 and that B3. Let's try it again. So it's like the try to force black not to play knight earth, and maybe when black plays this d6 a6, his main weapon is knight earth. Bishop g7, castles. Here we might have a transposition to this dragon that I prefer to play with white usually. So castles, rook to e1. Yeah, preparing bishop f1, then knight to d5. And if black plays b5, I can undermine this with the a4, and after b4 knight d5, so this pawns a6 and b4 will become quite vulnerable very soon. Yeah, so it is definitely a transposition to that line, which I believe is quite promising for white. So a4, b4 knight d5, knight takes, pawn takes, and then, yes, there is a difference. The knight was in d7, so maybe taking on d5 deserved attention. I don't really know, but yeah. So now I definitely want to develop my bishop c1, but b2 is under pressure. So how to do all the things correctly? Bishop to b5, knight takes d5, e d5, then I have c6 square, but I don't know. Well, let's start with the rook b1 move. So now I want to develop my bishop c1, and knight e5, e d5, bishop b2 is no longer the case, so I just protect b2. Knight b6. Well, to take or not to take? That is the question. If I won't take, probably knight b6 takes on d5 and then e d5, just bishop b7 attacking that pawn. Might be really annoying. Can I play this? I think I simply achieved nothing, except for b5 squares. Maybe this might be something for me. But yeah, if black will play correctly, I think there is simply nothing at all. Maybe even a slightly worse position for white. Wow. For the first time in this line. For the first time. Let's play in the style of Ivanchuk. He sometimes plays this nowadays against neither, so he puts the bishop on d3, then plays f3 and just waits. But of course, without this a5 and b4 against a4, so it's an absolutely different position. e5, queen e5, bishop c5, takes on e7. That's interesting. Let's try it. Let's try it. And if black doesn't take on e5, then probably I would support this pawn with the f4. I'll have more space. It looks like at least something for white, right? Yeah, so let's do this, f4. Looks like a normal position, finally. Yeah, so d5 was, I think, too much. Well, it is a normal move, but it should have been prepared properly. Better than this way. Still, I have some problems, of course. And one of them is the pawn on a4. That's protected this way. Knight c4, bishop d4. Still not clear, absolutely. I mean, who's better, who's worse? Might be everything. What about, I don't know. But what about occupying this square with the queen? So I protect f4, which means if black plays something like f6, then I can play e6, so f4 is no longer hanging. Also, I just control diagonal h1, a8, and yeah, at some point it might be possible for me to play something like knight c5, I don't know, with the threat of bishop takes c4, some just tactical tricks. I start thinking of undermining this b4 pawn with the c3. Yeah, but I don't have a feeling that, well, I control the situation completely. Let us take it. Bishop c5, no. Let's do knight c5 instead. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is what happens today. Come on. I can't avoid doing it. I mean, I blunder a lot. I need some good sleep, I think. Oh, my goodness. Exchange down simply. Maybe it's not that bad. Black did just a few absolutely unnecessary things. Now I think I'm all right. Yeah, now my bishop is a monster. Yeah, it's lost. Absolutely lost for black now. Yeah, crazy game. I just, well, one of a sudden I've blundered an exchange. One of a sudden. But maybe it was, yeah, it was a normal result of my bad position. I mean, I wanted to make an active move and, well, and did it. Yeah, knight c5 was just an active move. So instead of knight c5, since knight e2 is a problem, it was necessary to play, of course, rook to a1, protecting pawn this way. Looks ugly, I know, but, well, material is even, so position is probably more or less equal, so still playable for both sides for a win even. Of course, after knight c5, I should be lost. So knight e2, takes b1, takes b1, e6. This was all right after c3, by the way. It is a typical situation when you make two mistakes in a row, right? It was exactly this case. So after c3, just take it, and b file becomes open. So what you need here, actually, with extra exchange is a lot of open files, at least the one to start with, right? So you take on c3. I can take with the bishop, by the way. I can take on, well, queen. It looks ugly. It's pawn, you just play rook b8. So it should be somehow winning for black. Yeah, maybe quite quickly. I don't know. But the b file looks very, very important at least. Yeah. What you did, you allowed me to take on b4. Yeah. To keep position more or less closed. So I already achieved some chances here. And you created a supported passed pawn on the queen side, which is also an interesting factor for white. I mean, a factor of the compensation. Also, absolutely not necessary. And yeah, after that, I've already felt very well. So here, even if I don't have this crushing attack that I achieved in the game, I can just take b4 pawn at some point. I can play against this pawn at some point, and so on. After h4, well, probably just rook b8 should have been played. That is a solid move, at least exchanging the rook. After which still black plays for a win. Yeah, I have some play, of course, but you have a rook after all, and the only danger is my rook, so it was necessary to get rid of it. Yeah, after h5, I think I'm doing very well already. Still, g takes f5 was playable. I think still this rook b8 was playable even, but then I have this checkmating threat. So yeah, probably g takes f5 should have been played, because e takes f5 gives me a chance to come up with this breakthrough. But even here you had a chance. So even here f4, yeah, gave you some practical chances, because after queen takes f4, queen goes to e2, at least you have an active queen, which probably can be something. But I think, yeah, here it is already very bad. So I can play e6 as well. Then queen goes to f6 and so on. Yeah. Somehow this position already became very bad for black. Okay, well, I can see the chat just got stuck. I'll refresh the page and continue with the next challenger. And the next challenger is Phenomen from Austria. Accepted. And I play with white again. And for the opening stage, by the way, everything was okay, black. So this knight on d7 looked quite interesting if compared to normal c6 placement. Okay, exchanged Ruy Lopez, d takes c6, castles. Bishop g4, h3. Bishop h5, provoking me to take the pawn. Yes, I know that it could be very complicated. Can I just avoid taking this pawn? Let's try it. Just d3 instead of g4 and taking on e5. Of course, g4 and taking on e5 is the most ambitious continuation, but there, in many lines, black has the compensation. So there is only one line, as far as I remember, which, yeah, leads to advantage for white, but I don't remember it. So, yeah. Let's just develop the pieces. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? f5, really? I can't believe it can be a good idea. Well, let's take on f5 simply. What about this? Oh, again, it kind of seems that Andre accepts the same challengers. Yes, because same challengers just, yeah, leave challenges prior to anybody else. And how do I get in on that? Come on. You say the same thing like the Mac King, right? Just go to the beginning of the show and you will see how we decided to solve this problem. Okay? And today I was actually 15 minutes before the start of the show. 15 minutes before, so you could have challenged me then. All these guys I play right now, I mean, after 1 hour of playing to newcomers, well, they all challenged me right after I showed up online. So be there, yeah, some minutes before the show, and once I show up, just leave a challenge. That's how it works, yeah. But I spend the time definitely on newcomers every Friday from now on, in the beginning of the show. Okay, now goes back to e7. Now I can attack e5 somehow. Queen e2 looks something very natural to me. Andre accepts same challengers. My goodness, what can I do if these guys challenge me first, prior to anybody else? Yeah. So it's absolutely correct from one guy in that discussion on forums. So like, yeah, whatever you do, somebody will be always not satisfied and will complain. Okay, so I told you everything in the very beginning of today's show. Like you, do you like it or not? Well, it's another question. That will be my way of solving this problem. They are not prior challenges. They are real life challenges, but they actually, yeah, do these challenges, leave these challenges prior to anybody else, because they are waiting for the show. They really want to play, so they come in advance and leave the challenge. Always this rule, yes, always this rule, starting from this today's session, always will be the same rule. Well, I mean the same rule for the first part of the show. So the first part, like 30-45 minutes, will be spent on newcomers, and next will be like one by one, like today, or maybe I will pick well, higher rated guys or something else. So the next will be just random. I mean random in the sense of come on, yeah, choosing the way of accepting challenges. That's the idea. Though I think my knights are better than opponent's bishops in this particular case, because, well, first of all, the pawn structure is good. Second of all, learning the lessons from the game with Chameleon, if castle's long, then queen a7 might be extremely annoying. Might be not winning immediately here, but yeah, it will be definitely very annoying. G4. Well, queen takes h6 looks very good. Let's try it. Bishop is hanging. Bishop is simply hanging. The bishop on d6 as well. So this g4 simply drops everything, I think. So I do believe that f5 is somewhat strange. It is a mistake. Instead of playing f7, f5, it's much better just to, yeah, just to play f6, preparing g5. So h3 is kind of your hook, all right? And by playing this bishop g4, bishop h5, right? Well, mainly bishop g4. You just forced me to play this h3, and it is actually an advantage for you because, well, you have a chance to open up the h file at some point, or g file, by playing g5, g4. That is how black should play. So something like f6, g5, then bishop f7, h5, g4, like the same layout in the English attack in neither, or something like that. Thematic Banter Blitz. Yeah, really nice idea. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. The interesting thing is how to announce it correctly so that everybody will know. Yeah, but the idea is definitely good. Okay, what to do here? I don't know. Let's take the bishop. Let's put the knight on d5. Oops. What is going on? Okay. Let's go away. Yeah, it's lost. It was lost many moves ago, honestly. So first of all, f5. Yeah, f5 was really, really bad. As I said, instead of f5, a natural way of playing this with black is to play queen d7, castle long, and then to try to use this h3 pawn as a hook. So to play f6, g5, then bishop usually goes away from h5, you play h5, g4, and so on. So typical opposite castled kings for this variation, but usually white plays this position with the pawn on h2, and then white's attack comes first, right? Before a4, b5, it's very easy to open up files. They're having this c6 and a6 pawns, but with this pawn h3, it's another story. So you can even wait a bit with this castling long. You can play f6, g5, g4 maybe, yeah, and so on. So there are a lot of different things possible for black, but f5 is not a move. So after f5, I just take on f5, knight f5, bishop g5. So here, Chomic Student suggests that queen takes g5, but okay, I take with the knight. It's still a good exchange for me because, look, this pawn on e5 is ugly. I just blockade it with the knight, and this bishop d6 is long-term very bad. So it's almost strategically winning position. Almost strategically winning position for white here. So queen g5 is not a move. I don't know what else to play. So if bishop takes f3, I take with the knight. Black achieves nothing. If queen goes away, I thought I would have a chance to play g4, but maybe there was a chance for black. I'm not sure that it works good for white, because black has something like this, h6, and one of a sudden my bishop is short of moves, which means this fork is not that efficient, because if my bishop goes back to e3, let's say, you just take it with a tempo, and then your bishop simply goes away, and this position is extremely unclear. So maybe it is even better for black. I don't know. Yeah, so queen d7 was a move here. g4 is probably not a good idea for me, but instead I think I can try something like well, knight takes e5 looks interesting. Maybe immediately. If bishop takes queen takes h5, if bishop takes d1, I take on d7. Maybe it makes sense for me just to prepare something like this way. So if h6 now, then knight takes e5, bishop takes d1, but it's maybe not good. Yeah, if I take the bishop, g5, bishop drops. Yeah, not clear. So queen d7. Yeah, queen d7 was definitely a move. Maybe I would have played something like knight e4 simply, and then bishop goes back to d2 if h6, and g4 is a threat. Yeah, maybe. Don't know. But as I said, I don't like f5 at all. Let's continue. Chomic Student. So, I can't do anything, come on. Just an order. Okay? Yeah. d4. Oh, French defense, something new, by the way. Knight takes c4, knight f6. I'll take it. And knight f3. Is it really a good idea? Well, let's put the bishop on g5. I don't understand actually what black tries to do. Bishop d3 now. Queen h5, okay. h3, g4 traps the queen somehow. So to play h3 or not? I don't know, let's try it. At least it is a normal move for me, right? So now I want to trap the queen. f5 weakens position just deadly. Well, it should be absolutely winning now. I don't believe black will survive it, so I did only useful moves. And, well, bishop c4, d5. Yeah, d5 looks great. But I will just castle first. Mikhail said, Chomic Student, no Sicilian, please. Yes, no Sicilian, and you see what is going on. Just a disaster. Would have been better to play Sicilian, but maybe it's just a great strategy, like, yeah, making me feeling like, well, I'm already winning, but then position is not that simple, and so on. Who knows? Knight b6. Let's increase the pressure. I don't know. I have to put this pen aside because, yeah, just deflects my attention. C5. D5. D5, yes. Very delicious pawn on E6. I'll capture it. Oh my god. Well, let's put the bishop. Oh no, bishop c3, knight a4. A bit early for this move. But maybe it's alright. Bishop c3, let's say, knight to a4, bishop goes to e5. Isn't it a good position for me? It should be. It looks like it should be just easily winning. I don't know. Maybe I don't see a good move. Well, what black wants to do? Black wants to play rook f6 and grab my pawn e6. How to prevent this? g4 is just a move, by the way. If f takes g4, there will be queen e4 at some point, maybe even immediately. Yes, this should be a solution. g4. Okay. Sky Simon asks, I wonder how many challenges Andrew gets a show. So something about, 20 plus in the very beginning, and then throughout the show also 10, 15 more. So around 50, I think, and generally. Okay, queen e4. If something takes an f3, then checkmate in 1 or in 2. So the queen e4, I think something like g5 will be forced, which is very nice. So let's do it. Yeah, it's lost. Absolutely lost. I thought that the last chance will be something like bishop takes e6. But it's, yeah, still lost. After this, I don't know, bishop g6. Here, bishop c3. Yeah, come on. It's not interesting. It's not interesting. So, taking with the queen, then playing knight d7 looks very strange. So it looks like Chomic Student just mixed up something. So instead of knight f6, usually black tries this knight d7 to prepare knight f6 to recapture with the knight. That is the one of main lines here. Another one is bishop to d7 followed by bishop c6, which happened to me recently in one of the games for Las Vegas Desert Reds. So I've played one match in Chess Pro League, so-called, on chess.com. By the way, we won that match, and I've managed to draw one of the games against Sergei Movsesian. Well, so rated almost 2700s FIDE. So I'm pretty much happy, and probably I will make a recap of that also on YouTube channel. By the way, do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I started doing something on my own, right? Not only like studies from Training Tuesday. Okay, so let's continue. Calling cone, accept. Stop Andre from 3000s. Come on, I will stop myself. I do it every time when I'm getting closer to this desired rating. I do something, yeah, to make it desirable again. Andrea, do you prefer to drink Absolute or Nanovic? I do not drink vodka. Okay. So, sorry, abort. No time. Troll Fjord Paddler, accept. D4, knight f6. C4, e6. Knight c3, bishop b4. Queen c2, castles. So, classic system of the Nimzovich. So here, I inevitably lose this dark square bishop. So it's a good idea for me just to put my pawns on dark squares mainly. Blackmar says, every Ukrainian drinks vodka. Not every. First of all. Second of all, if I say I don't drink vodka, it doesn't mean that I never did that. Yeah. At the moment, I prefer not to drink vodka. So there is no difference for me from this point of view between Nanovic or Absolute or Soplitsa or anything else. So a3, okay, I take. Now what? Now e5. He takes it. I was tricked somehow, I think. e5 takes, bishop takes, rook e8, bishop takes f6, queen f6. Looks interesting. But I don't think it will be a good complete compensation for black. If there will be a compensation at all. Don't know. Yeah, white has very good position, indeed. So I somehow failed to play e5. Very bad. Very bad. Do I have some tricks? I don't know. e5 takes, 95, bishop e5. So what? There's nothing. Knight e7, maybe then knight c5. And there might be something like compensation. Maybe. Knight h5 is also an interesting try. Yeah, let's try knight h5. This looks awful, I know, but looks like I was outplayed. So now what I do, I'm trying just to confuse my opponent. So I create some threats and so on, but definitely without the center, it will be very hard for me to survive it. Yeah, so probably a5 is a deboost move, so instead knight c6 is much better. Yeah, and if a3, I just take on c3, and then I have a tempo to prepare e5, because white's pawn is still on e2. Yeah, okay, shit happens, but still, it doesn't mean that we have to give up already. e5. Okay. So h7, is it really so important? What about taking on e5 here? Well, too early, I guess. f5 is an interesting try for me. It looks very bad. Okay, I'll try g6. From a positional point of view, it's lost already for black. Absolutely. But from practical point of view, maybe I still have some chances. Maybe. Not quite sure. But I will try. Yeah. I'll try to do something. Dark squares, yeah, dark squares are very weak. I do hope that my opponent won't seize the control over dark squares quickly. This bishop is still on c3, but maybe it will be maneuvered very soon to the king side, and then there might be a disaster. Okay, this cd5, ed5 gave my bishop a chance, so I will try to exchange it for that light squared one. So now I want to play bishop to f5. Oh, now probably I just occupy g4. Come on. Yeah, let's get rid of it. I don't think that white will play queen d2, but maybe. It looks more or less fine, by the way. Uh-huh. So knight on c4 is quite strong. It's time to simplify it a bit, maybe. Oh, isn't it something? Knight takes b2. Yeah, very nice. Very nice tactics. Come on. White was too slow. Too slow. So, yeah, now it's lost. One of a sudden, come on, I was very lucky in this game. So, to start with, after I played d5, well, position is lost for black, obviously, right? So white has a lot of space, white has pair of bishops, Look at this stupid bishop on c8. Look at this simply enormously weak dark squares all around the board and so on. But it doesn't mean that, well, white has to be already like thinking it's over. No, it's not over. So you have an advantage, but you still have to prove, right? You still have to convert it. So first of all, cd5, in my opinion, is just a bad decision. Because in this case, you make my light squared bishop much better after I take on d5. So instead of doing it, it was much better for you just to ignore, right? Because if I take on c4, okay, you take with the bishop and you have good chances to break through. So if you wanted to castle on, it was a good moment to do that right now. I don't really want to take on c4, because in this case you take with the bishop, and as I said, you have a threat of d5, just a devastating one, opening up everything, and your bishops become monsters. All right. So if I play knight e7 here, you can even try bishop b4, just pinning my knight and still getting this d5 idea. Then knight through d2 goes to e4, or through g5 does the same. So I can't give up this d5 pawn. So probably I would do something stupid like bishop d7 here. And now you just have to ask yourself a question. What is the main drawback in black's position? Probably dark squares, right? How to use these dark squares? Well, maneuvering the bishop there, right? So bishop d2 looks pretty much devastating. After that, your bishop just gets to g5 or h6, it doesn't matter. You control f4 square so that g4 becomes possible. Your knight, my knight is forced to g7, then h4, h5, and so on. Position is lost for black strategically. I have some tricks still, so I won't give up here. I would have been doing something like knight a5, knight b3, rook a6, rook b6, but those are just details, okay? So I don't want to say that cd5, was a decisive mistake, but it was definitely the first step in wrong direction, right? And the rest was just overestimating of your position. So I've played knight g7, now preparing bishop f5, g4 is controlled by my bishop. The next move is just the sign that white didn't understand my plan at all. So h4, well, it looks very natural, I know, but well, it weakens a lot of light squares. I think it wasn't needed. So instead of h4, I would prefer, again, this bishop d2 followed by bishop g5. Maybe simply h3, just to play a bit more positionally. So then to have g4 restricting my knight somehow. But the problem is here that my knight already has e6 square to blockade pawn e5, to exert some pressure on d4. And that is another reason why it was not a good idea to take on d5, because in that case pawn was on e6 blockading my minor pieces. That's the point. I think you understand your mistakes now. So the rest was like, yeah, like the explanation. Here, by the way, you had a great chance to take on f5, and after knight f5 to play g4. So if you wanted to come up with the attack, it was necessary to do this way. After h takes g4, you have a chance to play h5. Of course, immediate h5 doesn't work because the knight is hitting, so maybe it's necessary to spend the time on going away with the knight somewhere. But it doesn't feel like a good idea, a good sequence of moves for white. So if knight goes away, then where? If knight g5, then even knight h4 is possible. Yeah, so maybe it's too much. Maybe it's too much. But maybe it's possible to prepare it, like knight takes, now immediately rook here with the idea of g4. So quickly doing this. Knight to g5 was a waste of time, right? So queen d7. I now just control g4 better, by the way. After f3, just knight a5. Again, king b1 wasn't necessary, so it was better to do something like g4. I think maybe taking on f5, g4, but well, the idea is to be quick here, but it doesn't feel like you're still good. So a lot of weaknesses. Knight c4, takes, queen b5, and yeah, the last mistake, king a2 takes b2. Yeah, position is lost. So you were very slow, and if you would have not captured on d5, you would have been not in a rush. That's my idea. That's my point. So only c takes d5 gave me a chance to activate my pieces. Without that, yeah, black's position is just lost. Okay, let us continue. The next was, Nermin Nanovic. And by the way, we didn't play, so accept. Yep. So as you can see, even if you challenged me not in advance, it's still possible to play. The only question is this guy online? Yes, he's online. So come on, let's play. Let us play, my friend. Your challenge is here, actually. Blackmar, no worries, okay? You are the next. Knight f3, knight c6. Bishop c4, bishop c5. b4. Wow, my goodness. That is a gambit. Evans. Blackmar, no worries. You're still here in the list. Castles. Okay, so here I think I can simply continue the development. But no, there is a thread of... I played d6, so I'm sort of confused. Yeah, if there is thread of d5. So d5 followed by queen a4. When my queen is on d8, I can play c6. Yeah, protecting the bishops. There is no threat. Okay, that's good. Knight to f6 can be played here. Bishop to b6 can be played here, just preventing all the shit related to this. Yeah, d5. What is going on if I play just knight f6? Okay, knight f6, let's say queen b3 castles, knight g5, I protect it with queen from e7. It should be just playable. Yeah, let's play knight f6. Yeah, Blackmar will have great chances against me for sure today because, as I said, I'm just blundering a lot. And yeah, it's very bad when you play some tactical positions and so on. d5, queen a4, c6, I think I'm okay with that. So knight e7. And c6. Bishop is protected. d5 is not a move. Takes. Still not clear. Well, I think I can play bishop b6 now. Yeah. Okay. If you want to take an f6, you can do that. I want to try something really strange now. Probably it's not a good idea, of course. Whew, I don't know. Oh, just castling, huh? Let's castle, come on. Who cares? Okay, some weakened pawns, but I have bishops. Right. I do like bishops. It's like in one of the lines of Rue Lopez, by the way. And Arhangelsk, I do believe. So sometimes black gives white a chance to take on g f6, g takes f6, but then king h8, rook g8, and attack along the g file. Something like that. So at the moment I'm in pawn up. That is very good. At least I saved the pawn, right? I'll take it. Knight e7 followed by knight c5, or knight h5 followed by knight f4 looks very good. Knight h5. Maybe there were no harmony, but now gradually I just try to build it up. Robert Kender again starts writing something stupid. Tree County, are you still here? Can you really stop this bullshit, please? Because I have no time to push the buttons. Yeah, it looks very massive. One of a sudden, black's pieces became really, really cool. Look at these pawns in the center. f5, e5, d5. Very nice ones. By the way, immediate e4 was possible instead of taking on d5, winning the game on the spot. Winning the queen at least, right? So e4 is now the main threat, I guess. Well, yeah, bishop g5 is a move. Is a move. 100%. Yeah. That's why probably it was necessary for me to play e4 instead of taking on d5. One of the reasons. What to do now? That's the question. Okay. I don't want to give up my pawn center. That's why I decided just to sacrifice this d5 pawn. Oh, that's nice. I do love making moves like this one. Queen will be somewhere there. Yeah, Let's activate everybody here. Yeah, it's lost now. King to h1, let's say queen to d7. Okay, so I don't remember if I don't remember the lines here, honestly. So definitely the main move after this d6 move is queen to b3, right? Attacking f7 immediately. And yeah, black replies with the queen d7 to have this diagonal a4, e8 controlled. So if white plays d5, okay, knight goes away. And there is nothing wrong with this queen a4 or something. If white takes here, then bishop goes to b6 with the idea of knight a5. So in many cases, even black sacrifices a pawn in this line, but obtains pair of bishops, all right? So that is all right. But castling, yeah, castling is probably also a good move. I don't know. Knight to f6 looked okay. Definitely d5 is not an idea here. So maybe d takes e5 are again in the material, but I don't know. Knight g5, queen b3, a lot of effective moves, but d5 well closes everything, after which I think black has no problems, simply. So extra material, okay, maybe the minor issue connected with this bishop takes f6 or something, but it's just a minor issue in my idea. Okay, so let's continue to black mar, accept. And I play with black. Okay, how to avoid this shit? I mean, this gambit. Well, let's do this. Just something like a bad version of Nimzo Indian. And I might be punished for this shit, of course. So now my opponent has his favorite attacking setup, having the material even. So maybe yeah, that was not a good idea for me to play this. But okay. I think I achieved also something like, yeah, doubled pawns, more or less good bishops. Maybe not that good, as I think. Okay, takes there. Now what? h6 looks okay. But then queen g4. Well, I don't know, knight f6 is also an interesting idea. Queen c6 and king e7 even. It's playable for black. But I think it will be just too much. Okay, I'll try h6 simply. Let's castle. Knight f6. Gradually improving position of my pieces. Now I think I'm fine. So long term I will be even better because white has a drawback. This doubled pawns. I don't think there is a serious attack or something. So let's just keep playing. What would be a good move? So knight e5 is coming, right? c6, c5. What should be played here? c5 looks natural. Just undermining this pawn. And now rook to c8, let's say. Preparing some pressure along the c file. Let's say queen c7 now. Yeah, without light squared bishop, probably it's not a very dangerous position for black. On the king side. Chomic Student thinks that white is better, but white is not better anymore. Why white should be better? Black has no weaknesses. And white has a lot of different weakened pawns. So 95. 95 is not something I would be really against. But how to get to weaknesses? That's the question. Okay, let's try this move. Get in somewhere to a6 or something. h3. Oh well. Ball queen a6 now. Oh really? What's that? Can't be good. Weakens a lot. Okay, let's come back to the center. No, let's take it. I can't get the point at the moment. But maybe I'm too tired to get it. Oh. Now I start understanding what he prepared. Very good. Very good. Strange moves. But okay, now I've got my own idea, so I wanted to prevent d5. Yeah, because it was really annoying in many cases. Okay, now let's try to be faster. Because, yeah, the time is not on my side. Oh my goodness. So stupid. Yeah, now I'm lost. Now I'm lost in time, okay. Yeah, there is nothing to do at all. So queen, extra queen, I resign. Yeah, of course it was. Yeah, it was absolutely okay for me. Even here after rook d3, well, why did I take on this d4? I don't know. Rook c1 looks like a winning move because I don't know where the queen goes first of all. The next move will be just queen b7. Yeah, so king h2, just queen b7. Queen is going there. First moment. Another moment, rook to d5, come on. So many winning moves here, my goodness. Just attacking the queen, the rook on g6 is hanging, so queen g4 is the only move. After which, if I want, I can take on g6 into play, rook g5. And the endgame with the extra pawn. And numerous weaknesses in white's camp. Yeah. I was so winning, but I was so blind in the end. So I thought that there is nothing at all, right, after rook cd4, but there is some initiative. So g7. Well, first of all, again, I don't understand why did I just play rook to d7, this passive, stupid passive move. Instead, it was much better to play this rook to d5. Okay, if it takes on g7, I'm just winning with 2 rooks against the queen. If queen goes away somewhere, then the question is where. So no threats again. So it was just one big bluff, and I've just made myself being bluffed. That's amazing. So rook takes d4, rook here, rook to d7. Even this I think was, well, more or less fine. So queen f8, rook g4, rook c8. Rook here, check here, rook h6. Yeah, the only threat that exists here is rook takes f6, right? So if I parry this threat, then I win. By the way, after rook d1 and king g2, I was winning after queen a8. Check. So yeah, so the better move was, of course, king c. Well, even if king goes to h2, then queen d6. So here, just queen a8 check. So where to go? There will be a forced checkmate, I think, after f3, something like rook c2. If king goes to h2, then rook h1 wins. If king goes to g3, then rook g1 wins. And so on. Yeah, so my pieces start attacking this king. And by the way, the queen is blockaded by own rooks. Yeah, that was just a disaster, right? But anyway, congratulations. Elin says, Andre, let's play to close the show. Let's play Elin. Okay. Where is Elin? Where is your challenge, my friend? Yeah, here you are. I play with white. Thanks God. E5. Oh, something new. Okay. E6. You don't want to play this normal CD6, right? You want it to be boring. Maybe it's a good idea. C6, 92. It looks like I'm completely tired because, yeah, I started playing very bad. Yeah, knight b4 equalizes. Not even equalizes, I think. Black is already a bit better. Having a pair of bishops. Okay, let's castle. d5. Yeah, black is simply better here. No questions. No questions. But maybe I will have some chances now. Trying to play against light squared bishop at least. So I'll take with the pawn. It looks a bit ugly at first glance, but this at least gives me a chance to prevent the comfortable development of this light squared bishop for a while. It also gives me an f-file, so I will try to do something along the f-file with my rooks. For example, this straightforward way. Rook here, then another rook to f1. Yeah. Bishop g7. Yeah, everything is fine. Black just prevented the worst. So now, how can I play here in this position? What could be a plan? e4 is just, yeah. Yeah, it's a possibility, by the way. So e4, d4, e4, knight e4, then knight to f6. This might be something. Might be something. Let's try it. I don't have anything better. Oh, and here I wanted to sacrifice the exchange. It looks very promising. Now I have very dangerous knights, at least at first glance. Maybe I have nothing, in fact. So what about knight f6, bishop f6, and rook h5? Something like Fischer-Benko many years ago, but bishop takes d4. Yeah, that is annoying. But I feel like I should be just winning now. Knight g5, for example, isn't it a win? A direct one? Knight g5, h6 or something. I don't know, rook d5, no. Knight g5, h6, something like... There should be a checkmate somewhere. Now, rook h5, f5 would be played probably. Okay, knight g5, h6, at very least I can just take on f7, right, and have a lot of extra material. Now let's play knight g5. It's over. Yeah, bishop f5 was just this very strange decision because it gives up all light squares. And yeah, I felt like, come on, it can't be a good move for black. I would actually have played probably f7, f5, limiting the own bishop, but controlling everything in the center and trying to outplay white's long term. Just trying to grab the space and so on. So this dark squared bishop is good. Pawn on e3 is a weakness, maybe not that critical one because I have a lot of resources to protect it. But yeah, bishop f5, just wrong, absolutely. Oh, come on, I've played e4 prior to black had a chance to play f5. Yeah, come on, forget about it. It's just, yeah, very late night bullshit. Yeah. Rook e5, I think, one of possible ways to win here. But black will probably keep playing by taking my knight on g5, but come on, it's not serious, just a rook for a queen. So, as we can see, I stopped myself from getting closer to 30s. I wanted to say thousands. Yeah, and anyway, I played very bad opening here, for example. I was just like the disaster, complete disaster. Knight c6 and knight b4. And now I can't go away with the bishop because c4 pawn is hanging. So I have to give up the bishop, after which, well, my position is, well, I have nothing at very least. By the way, instead of playing d5 here, I would prefer something like g6 right away. So bishop f5 is the threat. Yeah, very comfortable position for black. So then maybe bishop g7 and then to c. Maybe at some point you can play c6 even to be flexible, right? So maybe you will need d5, maybe c5. So it depends, right? And okay, MGTOW, Sebi 1996. Okay, let's do both. Actually, we're still alive, I think, after all these hours. So let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, MGTOW and Sebi 1996, and that's it for sure for today. So let's do it quickly. Garkhan. What did I play here against you is e5. c5. Let's try this. Let's try something crazy, absolutely crazy, I don't know. I know it's not correct, but for the sake of fun. Now how black will develop his pieces? Not that easy stuff. My pawn on e5 is like the bone in the throat, right? And I want to get to d6 square somehow. Oh my goodness. I can take this knight, I think, if I want. And then there might be something. Maybe nothing, but okay, let's do it. I'm almost sleeping, to be honest. And I have one last sip of coffee, so half of that already disappeared. Oh man, what are you going to do with this d6 and f6 squares now after you gave up this bishop? I'm not sure. What are you going to do? So that I play knight f6 and then I take on g5. And that should be over somehow. Yeah, so it's like marathon, 100%. It's like, yeah, insane. So for the first time in my life, I do this banter so long. Okay, let's play bishop b5. I want to take this knight. After that, well, this bishop c8 will be just awful if compared to my knight f6. Also, I hope that black will play just knight e7. Okay, I take it. Now I can play knight h7, I think. Yeah, I'll do this. Check. d8 queen is hanging. I'll come back. And what about just marching the pawn up to h6? Good idea. Bishop b7, so what is the idea? To play c5. Let's stop it. Yeah. It's very hard to even find a good move for black. It's absolutely lost. I can't even see the move preventing me from occupying c5 square next move with the rook. Because if queen controls, yeah, I still can play rook c5. Let's do it. For the sake of fun, just duplicating everything. Queen can't take the rook. And now b4. Bishop on b7 is just buried. Okay. There are a lot of different ways leading to a win, but I want to blockade everything first. And not only blockade, so this is a rook lift. I want to get to g3, simply. Yeah, it's absolutely lost. A lot of mistakes, of course. So after c4, I think that black has very easy way to equality somehow. Maybe something like knight c6. Maybe d takes c4, everything. C takes d4 is also a normal move. No problems. After knight f3, I do believe that knight c6 is better than taking on c4, because d4 helps me to develop my pieces. Knight c6 develops your piece and you control the center. So it's just okay. You have an extra pawn at the moment. I have problems with regaining this pawn. So there is nothing. c4 is just a psycho attack. Nothing more than that. And of course, later, well, giving me a chance to grab your dark squared bishop when you had these weaknesses on d6 and f6 was absolutely wrong. That was the decisive mistake. Okay, and the final game, Sebi 1996. Let's do it. I play with black. Andre is blocking everything he's built in the big wall and make me pay for it. Oh, good sense of humor. Okay, so it is the Scotch. So Scotch for knight or the main line after knight c6. Yeah, Scotch for knights. Okay, maybe a good choice for this moment, because yeah, I'm absolutely tired. I may blunder everything on any move. Dick Crusher says this is almost 2 shows in one. I have a feeling that maybe next Friday, when there will be an anniversary and I will be away playing in a tournament, so there is a chance that I won't have proper conditions for making the show. So maybe it was not a bad idea to make 2 in 1. Right? Okay. Scotch is good. Have one in my bar. As tomorrow I will also actually buy the one bottle. We're going to celebrate the first month of my son being on this earth. So this position is probably just equal. Usually it is just equal. Knight is going to g3 maybe to d4. Both are acceptable in my opinion, so let's try to do something with the pawns in the center. Knight h5, then bishop e5. So I think I can play c5 right now. Another question was about the new show, not yet decided. So you will definitely know everything first when it will be finally decided, okay? So my opponent started thinking that is a good sign, so maybe he's puzzled a bit. I know there are a lot of good moves for white, honestly. So my only active idea is probably just to try c4, then bishop d6 jumps somewhere, but I'm not quite sure. Okay, bishop f5. Can I take on g3? Then f takes g3. That is the point. Okay. That's why I don't want to take on j3. Okay. So what to do then? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do instead. Just protect e6. Silence. Miktal says, I think Karakan is a good opening. 100%, yeah, which is a good choice. But you need the understanding and, well, proper knowledge to play it well. Now I think black is fine, because this center looks very promising. What I should do here is to make opponent's knight passive. So first I'm going to activate my bishop a bit. Bishop c3. Yep. And let's say f5, because at some point I want to play d4, right? So e4 should be controlled. Okay, what's now? Let's try bishop to d4. Rook d3. No, not really. a5 maybe. Yeah, a5 looks good. well, playable. But now the knight is self-limited. And I also have additional plan of h5, h4. Like minority attack on both flanks, right? Now I got rid of all my weaknesses. It's time to get the opponent's ones. Just going to attack my c5 somehow. Okay. I can protect it. My target is e5. I misplaced my pieces a bit. Maybe I'm still okay. Just playing this. And grab an e5 finally. Okay. Yeah, now it's lost. Squeeze. Yeah, very clean win in the end, but of course I do believe that white missed something here. I'm not sure what exactly, but I think that's, well, it was a premature idea to take on f6 too early, so I don't think it's a good idea at all. So maybe it's better to try something like h3, rook e1, rook d1, and then at the proper moment to take on f6 if it is possible. That's, in my opinion, the most poisonous plan for white. For black, I mean. Well, if you clarify the position so early, of course you have some tricks because I have a bad pawn structure, but anyway, yeah, I have pair of bishops, and at very least I'm fine, right? I have to say that it is the first goal when you play with black. So first of all, you have to equalize, and then you'll see. It's much better to play for a win from the equal position than from the worse position, and it is much easier, right? Stuff. Okay, thanks a lot for your attention, guys. I hope that it wasn't too exhausting. Yeah. And I actually lost only one game today to Blackmar. Congratulations, Blackmar. Yeah, every game was kind of quite hard for me to play. That's very nice. I do love facing this great opposition. Everybody's welcome to next training Tuesday. There we will continue this harmony stuff. And also do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You will see the link very soon in the very end of the show. There will be a picture with the link highlighted. And also I do hope that in a week I will be available during this Chess24's anniversary celebrations marathon. Maybe I will also take part in this, but it is not guaranteed because, as I said, I will be away playing the tournament and maybe I won't have proper conditions for the streaming. But I do hope I will. So, take care, have a good weekend, bye-bye.